I get pulled into an office with our head of legal and HR, and they said, we're going to make a separation. This is where it gets a little personal and emotional. I'm 52. And by the way, there was no reason given. There was no explanation. It was just a change. And I set up my car, and I am never going to let this happen to me again the rest of my life, because I hated that feeling. It either knocks you out or you just dig deeper. I applied to hundreds of jobs too at the same time. I remember one job I applied for, there were 1,200 other applicants, but I knew that I'd been watching this avalanche of AI tools. They were doing things better, faster, and cheaper. So I knew that whatever I was going to do next, I needed AI in my back pocket, and came across one of your Instagram ads. I took the plunge and jumped in. I got my first deal.
How many clients you have?
7 clients, and it's about 49K MRR at the moment.
So Josh, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Can you just give an introduction to yourself, please?
Yeah, Josh Brammer. I've been with this program for about 6 months. I've got 25 plus years experience. I've been working in sales and in software and professional services companies. And this gave me the opportunity to start a business and see if I could help people around the world with sales and marketing problems.
Nice. So your background is more professional corporate, and this is more sort of the next step into your entrepreneurial journey. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I spent 14 years at IBM running various business practices for them. But yeah, most of my career has been running sales and marketing for either software companies or professional services companies in some capacity. And then most recently, I was a chief revenue officer for a manufacturer down in Georgia.
I'm going to get straight into the detail. What made you transition into entrepreneurship and decide that AI arbitrage was the right vehicle for you?
So about 5 years ago, I started my first company, and it was massively successful in a really short period of time. We grew from 0 to 29 million in 9 months. And there were a lot of factors around that. It was exciting, but I had no idea what I was doing. And so I did that, and I exited out 3 years later, and learned a lot from it, but I could never really get back into the flow of working a job again. I bounced around a little bit, and then I ended up being a chief revenue officer of this company, and it was a lot of fun. But I did that, and we grew the company from 35 to 60 million in the first year. So we were, on a good trajectory. This is where it gets a little personal and emotional. I get pulled into an office with our head of legal and HR, and they said, we're going to make a separation. And I'm 52. And by the way, there was no reason given. There was no explanation. It was just a change. And that happens in corporate world all the time, and you can't control it. And so I set up my car, and I am never going to let this happen to me again the rest of my life, because I hated that feeling. No explanation. The CEO took the day off. Even the head of HR goes, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "I have thousands of questions, but I'm not going to get them answered." They're just like, "Yeah, you're probably not going to get them answered."
And it happens even more in small to mid-sized businesses, because corporations, especially funded ones, right? They have less cash flow problems. They optimize for profits. So they're laying off a lot of people, being made redundant because of AI. And so your job's not safe if you're in corporate because of that. When cash flow becomes a problem, the biggest expense is normally people. That's the first place where a business would cut. What you've identified there is a future reality for most people, and they might not even know it yet. So what did you do?
It's always those moments in life where you have to make it a choice and a decision. It either knocks you out or you just dig deeper, right? So I just got to work, and I'm like, all right, I loved owning my own business. I have all these years of experiences that I could leverage and figure out what to do with. I applied to hundreds of jobs too at the same time, and it was a tough market. I remember one job I applied for, there were 1,200 other applicants for that job on LinkedIn. What I wanted to do was get back into entrepreneurship. I wanted to take all those years of experience and figure out if I could help other companies solve problems. But I knew that I'd been watching this avalanche of AI tools just get dumped in the market. And they were doing things better, faster, and cheaper than I could. And I'd spent my whole life trying to learn how to do those things well. So I knew that whatever I was going to do next, I needed AI in my back pocket to help me optimize and grow. I was looking for something out there like that, and came across one of your Instagram ads with, no shirt and a Lamborghini. And I figured I gotta check this guy out, because I see him everywhere. I was intrigued, had a call, learned about it, it was really aligned around where I wanted to go as well. It felt like it was going to be a good fit. And so I took the plunge and jumped in. And it's just kind of been like a blur ever since then, because I got my first deal about 35 days after that. Still hadn't finished all the modules, but it just seemed like everything was going so fast and it was just a ton of fun.
Based on your understanding of the market now, having scaled up to what level? How many clients do you have?
7 clients, and it's about 49K MRR at the moment.
What are you understanding from the market now? Like, what is the decisions that are being made by these business owners around people in AI and leverage? Why are people buying? What are they actually thinking?
I've seen a couple different approaches to this. Some businesses are either just throwing money at anything with the letters AI in it with no strategy. They're just like, we got to figure this out because everyone's doing it, so let's just do it. And so they do these.
Like a FOMO.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're just paralyzed because they don't know where to start, because there's too much information out there and there's new stuff coming every day. And so what I find in either one of those cases, that they just need a guide, someone that could just help them just identify the problem that they're dealing with and then come up with a strategy and a process then to go and attack that problem and get it solved.
What's going to happen for the marketplace? Like, how aggressive are companies being towards that? You've closed a lot of deals in a short period of time. It's not like a hard sell. You're pushing on an open door because every business has problems. They're already spending on inefficient solutions. Maybe people not able to do what they want to achieve. That's actually what I find most of the time when I speak to business owners.
Yeah, that is incredibly interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'd say basically there's 2 big levers. It's increase the revenue and it's decrease the cost. How do we do both? Right, is really kind of what senior level managers are really trying to figure out. Like, how do we do both of those things? A lot of the corporate level investment in IT around AI has been really focused on that cost savings. How do we optimize a few of our processes internal? None of them, in my opinion, or at least my observation yet, are really focused on that top line piece of it. It's strange. Corporate level companies don't really look at lead gen, lead acquisition, outbound sales marketing, cold email the same way, or even social media. It's all kind of boring. Like it's all just product education, right? Everything they do is about me. Some of my clients, what I do is the bigger ones is I go into the ad library and I just look up what their current social media ads are. And it's all just, like there's nothing compelling, interesting at all from it. It's just $1 trillion industry that's like pleading for AI to come in and actually get things more optimized and efficient. So I just see the top line side of that equation. So the cost revenue side, that's where I love to play, is on that top side. And I just think there's infinite opportunity for that.
There is an arbitrage opportunity now, like you mentioned, in terms of moment in time within industry where there's fear of missing out, so there's money being thrown at it. I don't know if you've seen like the McKinsey studies around, I think 94% of businesses want to implement AI more, and only 1% of businesses believe they've reached the investment levels needed. So can you share maybe firsthand, because you've been through this experience a lot more recently, what you felt coming into this, what this opportunity could be, and then what the reality of it actually is?
I don't even think I comprehend what the opportunity is. You've got a situation where you have a business in front of you where if you have 18 to 20 clients, that's $1 million business. So to think that this is actually could be saturated, well, yes, it's all saturated. Don't anybody join. Leave it all to Jordan and I to take the rest of the market, right? But that's not true. It's like, the thing is, like, it's still continuing to expand. It's almost like a expanding universe of capacity with this, because the more we go in and solve, the more opportunity it creates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, hey, when I was at 10 million a year, I only had this much to spend, but I spent it, I solved the problems, I grew much more. Now I have more to spend. Businesses don't stop spending. They're not like, oh, problem solved, I guess I won't use AI again. They're like, okay, what's next?
That's what I kind of found, I guess, with the first few clients is lead gen is the offer that I was kind of going forward with. And what you find out is that lead gen is a problem that almost every business faces. They'd love to talk to more people, have more people come in the front door. But once you crack that surface level pain, my gosh, there's a pile of opportunity just inside those one organizations where you're getting, your initial revenue from. If you could just go in and help them just understand, diagnose, figure out like what's causing it. And then there's like almost like an unlimited, just a resource of those types of pains just to continue to grow with just one client and help them achieve their targets.
Josh, you know a lot of people who we work with are corporate professionals like yourself. Can you speak a bit about the relationship and the value you specifically got from it?
I think it's the second module in the coursework. I believe it's the mindset course. But I started with that one. And what I realized kind of going through that coursework, this is different than anything that I've ever done before. It's a different way of thinking about how to solve problems. I always had this box that I had at every company I've ever worked for. So I sold products or services. It had a price to it. It had features and benefits, and people wanted it or they didn't want it. Walking into this, it's like there's no box. It's infinite, literally, what you can sell here, because what you're doing is you're just meeting with an individual who owns a business who has 35 different hats that he's wearing every day, and that she is dealing with all these problems on a daily basis, and she just wants desperately to someone to take that away so that they can focus on other things they need to get done. That's kind of what the biggest shift for me was, that, okay, I didn't have this skill necessarily. Sure, I had some foundational stuff. I know how to do sales, I know how to do marketing and things. I really want to deeply understand and be really curious about your business and what you're trying to deal with and what your goals are and maybe why you're not hitting them. Like, what's stopping you from hitting your goals? Let's see if we can get those things taken out of the way so you can continue to grow.
Can you explain that in mind? Because I know a lot of people, especially corporate professionals, who have achieved good things, starting something new, even though most people keep their full-time job, when they do this, can feel like financial risk and investment, because that's obviously backed by guarantees, etc. Because you're from that, you've raised a beautiful family and you could continue getting paid probably multi-six figures a year in corporate America. You actually said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to make multi-six figures a month.
The failure aspect of this, I guess it never really came into play because that wasn't an option. Like, this had to work. That sort of like affected a lot of the things that I did because I took a massive amount of action. This wasn't a passive leisure time event for me that I'll try to squeeze in, after work and before football starts. I made a commitment to myself that I am going to give everything that I can into making this work. That had a deep impact on also the conversations I would have with prospects. Like one client says, you haven't done this before. You haven't had an AI business or done these things before. And I'm thinking, AI's been around a couple years. Like, how many people really have any massive experience in this thing? But I just kind of said, I'm like, you're right. I haven't. And nobody else has either. I'm not like a noob. Like, I've been doing stuff for a long time at a high level. And now you're going to get me working on your business for a fraction of the cost you pay a junior employee. You're my only client. So guess what? Like, I'm going to put everything I have into you. I think you're the big winner in this whole scenario here. Those kind of conversations I would have never had if this was just a passive kind of like, I'm going to give this a shot. If it doesn't work, no big deal. It changes. So that's why I said I'm like, I knew his mindset. Mindset's important. No, it's everything. It's like, oh my gosh, how much do I charge? I don't know anything about AI. How do I deliver this? Yeah, you know what? That questions have all been answered 1,000 times, maybe a million times by other people. So those answers exist. Even if you don't know them, that's fine.
How is our support? What's the level like? What level of professionalism should people expect?
I've been involved with a few different mastermind groups throughout my life, and I think they're valuable. I get a lot from them. I've always found, though, that there's always some wall that you hit with a lot of programs. My expectation coming to this was kind of based on that experience. That has not been my experience at all with you guys. You exceeded my expectation on the support side across the board. When I started on a weekend, and I started going through the coursework material. It was well organized. It was thoughtful. It was intriguing. It was interesting. So, I kind of busted through a lot of those courses. Then on Monday, they set up a Slack channel where they started introducing me to people that were going to help me start my business and get it going and launched. And they gave me like a quick start plan. And so then you feel like all this like help is coming in from all these people from everywhere. I got a personal growth partner that I really hit it off with, had a great insight, had a lot of experience to help me work through some things. And then of course the tools themselves just keep getting better with more feedback and improvement. And that was 6 months ago. Now fast forward 6 months later, to today, now like the support is even like, I couldn't even imagine the support being the level it's at right now. Instead of me getting somebody for 30 to 45 minutes a week, which I loved, like I really appreciated and admired that. Now I get someone 16 hours a day if I want, which I've tried. I was on at 6 a.m. the other morning and someone was there and they were incredibly helpful. Like they have this deep desire to like continually grow and improve what they're doing. So the support that you guys and your team have provided, Jordan, in my experience, has just been nothing like I've ever had before. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, Josh. And final question. If someone's on the fence, they're looking to maybe work with us or book a call, what advice would you give to them?
If you're looking to start a business, create some sort of financial security for your family or yourself, or you have some goals that you want to accomplish in that area, like this is a program that will allow you to leverage your experiences and your skills and your interests to work in an area that you find a lot of passion with. And then Jordan and his team can actually help you then apply some tools and some capability, process, approach, mindset, skills that would allow you to take whatever you like doing, you can do it better. And you can actually get more clients that'll pay you, help them solve problems in their business. So yeah, I would say that would probably be my biggest suggestion to someone that's looking into this, like just give it a go.
Josh, man, it's such a privilege to have you in the community.
Well, that's kind of you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I love being in it. I think it's filled with amazing people and they're all trying to do great things for themselves and their families. And so it's a lot of fun.
Josh, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. You're a true gentleman. Thank you so much for sharing your feedback. Really appreciate it.